Ecology of the Christian faith. This mind map is based on the metaphor of the Christian faith being an ecosystem or a tree made up of different species or branches. These have evolved from the time of Jesus, all competing to find a suitable place to establish themselves, grow and reproduce. But Jesus wanted his followers to be one. Is it okay to think of ourselves as one ecosystem, all equally important, interconnected, and dependent on one another? Would Jesus have approved of that? I like to think so. Here's my understanding. The Catholic Christian Church, in its fullest form, and Catholic means all-embracing, can be thought of as a tree having 4 branches, all equally important in connecting us with God and the created world, whether as individuals, body and soul, as different groups, or as humanity in general. These branches can be called contemplative, cognitive, expressive, and active. They all lead us to the divine center of our faith. Unfortunately, the divisions within the Church have led to an imbalance and conflict, as some branches have been either rejected, ignored, misunderstood, or given too much emphasis. Part of the problem lies with the Western viewpoint that has largely determined how Christianity has developed. There has been a tendency to reject all of what Eastern religions have to offer, instead of accepting what is true and beneficial. And that's a great pity. If you look at the map about what these branches represent, you can see in them elements of other religions. For the tree to grow as a tree of life, it is important to cultivate all branches so that they can develop and bear fruit. At the same time, we need to prune them when they get out of balance and unfruitful. That applies to all our churches without exception. Thinking of the Christian faith as an ecosystem of churches, and remembering that I am a forester, I ask myself which churches have naturally regenerated from the original church of Jesus' followers, which church have evolved into very different species with different characteristics, which have been artificially planted where natural regeneration has failed, and which consider themselves pioneers and shading out traditional species. There are more questions we need to ask ourselves and a lot more about what it means to be Christian. Which of these expressions do we prefer? Where does my church need pruning? Does it need to be left to sprout and grow? Which branches are more Eastern? Are we prepared to be open and to see and accept the truth in other religions? Does this mean thinking that truth is relative? If not, what are our basic truths? Is there any existing church that is more Catholic than others? If not, why not? Why do we insist on being divided? Why can't we agree to disagree but still be one? Is the cause our ego wanting to promote the way of our truth?